Hey everyone, welcome to another Game Thrifter video. This one is an Xbox 360 buying guide, and I wanted to go over some great things that you can get for the Xbox 360, including the 360s themselves. I always recommend the 360S with the built-in Wi-Fi and things like that. It was such a revelation when it was announced, and obviously with the store being closed, there's still a bunch of games that you can buy, physical games and things like that. So clearly this was going to be a video that I put a lot of thought into, and with it being very close to the holidays, I wanted to make sure that everybody got an idea of what to buy that person that's looking for Xbox 360 stuff, whether it be hardware, whether it be software, whether it be a mix of both. And 2024 and beyond is still a great time to be an Xbox 360 owner or an Xbox 360 collector. And it's just such a fun console to collect for. A lot of the games are extremely cheap, but some of the games are expensive. But more than ever, I feel like it's just a great platform. And with the holidays here, what better video to do than a buying guide for the Xbox 360?
Boring!
Excitement! Shove this up your stocking!
So I wanted to talk a little bit about hardware real quick. There's obviously models that you should get or stay away from. I always like the S models and the collector's edition models, but they could be a little bit pricey. I have the Star Wars one seen here, the Halo 4 one, as well as the Gears of War one, and they're all fantastic. They're great consoles. The problem is getting a complete console is still hundreds of dollars, and so whenever people are just getting into collecting for the 360, I always recommend just the standard Xbox Series S, which was a great console. You can get it for usually under $100, and you can get replaceable hard drives on there very cheap as well. It runs great. It's not as prone to red ring of death. I always recommend that you keep them in a ventilated space though, and clean them out if possible. Go ahead and take them apart and things like that, because upkeep is an important part to collecting for retro consoles. So the Xbox 360S version is the one that I would personally go with, and it's the one that I recommend the most. Now, when it comes to software, you can't go wrong with Call of Duty Black Ops. This is, in my opinion, still the best Black Ops game, and considering we just got the latest Call of Duty Black Ops game, I figure it prudent to kind of list this one because it really goes back to the beginning and showcases a fantastically made game. The story to me is one of the best things that's ever happened, and it still has a great zombies mode as well, but the campaign is a lot of fun to go in and play, the different areas kind of jumping around and things like that. I also feel like they do a good job of making sure that it's got that action-packed quality that you look for in one of the campaigns, and not only is it fun, but there's lots of little surprises and secrets and things like that. Also, this game is still online, so you can still play multiplayer, and to top it off, it's also backwards compatible. So if you have a newer Xbox, you can play it there too. Maybe you're more into the Old West and want to play Red Dead Redemption. Well, that's a fantastic game that you can play on the Xbox 360, one that I highly recommend, I might add, and they did such a good job with it that it still holds up all these years later. Maybe you haven't played Red Dead 2, which is a fantastic game in and of itself, but I will point out that I think a lot of people prefer the story in this game, and you literally can pick this game up for under $15. It's backwards compatible on the newer Xboxes as well. Not only is it backwards compatible, but there's so much story here, and you can get it for so cheap. You can literally sink hours and hours, maybe over 100 hours into this game easy, and never get bored of playing it. They really went all out with it. Rockstar did such a fantastic job with this game. It still holds up today, and one that is highly, highly recommended. I'm going all out on this list, and it includes Transformers War for Cybertron. What a great Transformers game this is. I still have my fingers crossed that this game will eventually come back and be relisted in the stores. This might be my all-time favorite Transformers game. They did a wonderful job with it, and not only did they do a great job with it, but you get to play as two sides of the coin. You get to be Autobots, you get to be Decepticons. It is the best of both worlds, and there's actually a fun trilogy of these games on the Xbox 360. They can be a bit pricey at times for sure, although the third game they say is not nearly as good. In fact, it was made by a different developer, but still, this game in particular, War for Cybertron, is one you will not regret picking up. Awesome game. I highly recommend it. If you're going to pick up a 360 or know somebody who has a 360, this is a game they're going to want. Need further proof that I'm going all out? How about The Witcher 2 Assassin of Kings? Yeah, believe it or not, this is an Xbox 360 console exclusive. Even right now it is. And it's such a great game, and it ticks the box for backwards compatibility as well. Actually, on the Xbox Series X, they did all the bells and whistles, and it looks and plays fantastic. What a great story. I've mentioned this multiple times in some videos that I've done, that this game is actually preferred by me over The Witcher 3 because I felt like I liked the linear style of it much more. It just seemed like a easier game, a more focused game. Maybe easier would be the wrong word, but a more focused game. So if you thought The Witcher 3 was a little bit too daunting, but you liked the overall story and style, then you might want to give this game a try. Like I said, it's backwards compatible, it's not very expensive, and it is a fantastic game. Next up is Gears of War 3. In fact, the entire original trilogy is one that everybody who owns a 360 should experience. You know, experience it alone, experience it with a friend or multiple friends. This is the game that you let you play with 4 people though. So I always thought that was really cool about Gears of War 3. It's my personal favorite in the entire series, and it really is the epitome of what the Xbox 360 was all about. Just a fun, over-the-top experience, and it's just something that is better with friends. That was what was so engaging about the Xbox 360, was that they had just so many games that were, fun to play with friends, and the whole online thing was really coming into its own at that particular point. But Gears of War 3, hands down my favorite in the series. Great gameplay, great story, great way to end a trilogy, and highly recommended on my end. Also, backwards compatible. So I know that's a big thing for a lot of you guys. Yeah, pick it up on 360. You can also play it on the newer Xboxes as well. I would never do this list without adding a Halo game, and Halo Reach might be my favorite. It could be a toss-up between that as well as Halo 3. Both really good games, but Halo Reach, I feel, has a better story, probably the best Halo story that there actually is. And they just nailed it from every aspect that you can imagine. Quite honestly, the story is great. It's another one of those amazing multiplayer games where you can play it with friends. In fact, my memory of playing this game was day one and playing with my brother and 2 friends, and we stayed up like all night playing this game, beating the game on the highest difficulty. And that's just something that you really can't take for granted or take back. I mean, those memories are going to be there forever, and the game itself really withstood the test of time. Just such a fun game, and a great, very poignant game. The last one that the actual Bungie studios themselves did in terms of Halo, and it still holds up. Highly recommended. If you haven't played a Halo game, play this one because it's the prequel anyway. Is there a better Star Wars game than the Force Unleashed? Well, probably, but it's still a darn good game in and of itself, and it's still a lot of fun to play on the Xbox 360. In fact, there's 2 of these games, but the second one, not nearly as good as the first, and guess what? This one's backwards compatible. So, I know a lot of people like to kind of check those boxes, but this is actually a canon story that George Lucas approved of, and, the Starkiller story is fantastic. They really did a phenomenal arc with that, and I just think overall it's really kind of epitomizes what Star Wars is all about. Like nowadays we don't get good new Star Wars content, in my opinion. This was good new Star Wars content, and I think it's one of those things that a lot of people can kind of look at and look to and go, whoa, this is much better done than anything Star Wars we've gotten lately. So if you haven't played this game, pick it up, give it a try. It really is good. Next up is a little bit more of a rarer game, which is Spider-Man Edge of Time. This is a very well put together Spider-Man game with a heavy emphasis on action as well as storytelling. Now, if you're an Xbox owner, you don't get new Spider-Man games. Those are locked down by Sony on PlayStation, and Insomniac Games does a, pretty good job with those games. But this game, and there's a few other Spider-Man games, but this happens to be my favorite, are so well done. And, this is a little bit more expensive than your average game or whatever, but I still feel like it's such a great game that it's worthwhile putting out that money to get. And if you're looking to impress an Xbox 360 collector, hey, pick this one up for them, because I can promise you they're going to absolutely love it. It's such a fun game, and it really looks good too. Like for the Xbox 360, yeah, it's not backwards compatible, but it is a very good looking game, and they did a great job putting it together. Highly recommended. Fable 2 might be my all-time favorite RPG. Maybe not, but it's right up there. It's definitely top 5 for me, and this game won Game of the Year, believe it or not, back on this old TV show called G4 TV and this show called X-Play. And I always remember that because I just remember thinking, never had I played such an involved RPG before, where so many of the choices mattered, where so much could kind of send a ripple effect throughout the game itself. And honestly, the game is still as much fun to play now as it was back then. So if you've never played this game, give Fable a chance. The Fable series, in particular the first 3, are amazing. They're backwards compatible as well, so there's that. They're just fun to pick up and play. And if you've never played them, I can't recommend them more, especially the second one. Just really a great game, and probably one of the best RPGs, Western RPGs that there are. I can still remember when the trailer for the first Forza Horizon game leaked, and I was impressed. I was like, wow, what is this? Why is it so different than, Forza Motorsport? And it was such a different game. I was like, well, why are they even bothering calling it Forza? And then later on, you kind of realize, okay, well, one of the good things about Forza is the way that it handles. It has that kind of car DNA, and it's just such a great franchise. And you throw that into a more arcade-like racer, and you have the recipe for just winning all the way across the board. And honestly, Forza Horizon might be the best racing game of all time, no joke. I often put it up there. I think if you can't put Forza Horizon 1 as the best game, then Forza Horizon 3, particularly with the Hot Wheels DLC, they're both up there. But Horizon 1 might be up there a little bit further, just because I actually prefer the way you kind of earn your ranking and like the story mode and stuff like that in this game a little bit better than how they kind of portray it later on. But yeah, Forza Horizon, love it, live it, play it. It is fantastic. Adding to the RPG goodness is the first Mass Effect game. Yeah, the trilogy's here, which is great, but I think the first Mass Effect game is what really sold a lot of people on Mass Effect in general. Now, the second one is technically a better game, but if you're looking for more of an RPG, then the first one is probably where it's at. I just absolutely love this game. And to think that this game actually came out, the same year that Halo 3 came out, that Assassin's Creed came out, that Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare came out, it blows my mind, but still, such a fantastic game. What a great series as well. If you've never played the Mass Effect games, it's the perfect time to get into them. You can get the remasters on newer platforms, but there's something special about playing the original kind of clunky controls on the Xbox 360 version of the game. So yeah, 100% recommended. Do you like The Cat in the Hat or Alice in Wonderland? Well, Alice Madness Return is a twisted take on that world, and it's kind of taken place in a third-person shooter-esque type of way. And you know what? Listen, this is a totally unique game. If you've never played it, oh my gosh, you're in for a treat. And this game is also backwards compatible, plays and looks great on the newer Xbox hardware as well. So keep that in mind as we kind of go along. They really nailed the aesthetic with this game, and overall, I just feel like it's something that we probably would never get these days, right? Believe it or not, it's like something that probably would never get greenlit. I heard they wanted to make a new game in the franchise, but no publisher wanted to touch it. But to me, such a great game and highly recommended. Whether you can find it digitally or physically, it doesn't matter. Just pick it up and play it. So there's a great list of games and recommended hardware that you can pick up and play. It doesn't matter if it's 2024 or 2025 or 2030. The Xbox 360 is always going to be a great place to play video games, and especially if you're looking for games that are just fun and inventive and doing something a little bit different. We don't get that nowadays. It's probably why I spend more time playing the older games than the newer games, but there's something for everybody. And I just wanted to put a quick list out, like I said, right for the holidays, so everybody can kind of see stuff. If you have a collector on your list or whatever, please just show them my video. Maybe they can point out something that they're looking for. And again, we really kind of have to say that the Xbox 360 was the one time that Microsoft absolutely nailed it. I mean, aside from the Red Ring of Death, they just did a great job all around. What are some of your favorites on the Xbox 360? What's your favorite Xbox 360 console? And if you do enjoy my content, please leave a like and share it out, and maybe even consider subscribing. I'll catch you next time. Until then, I'm the Game Thrifter. Peace.